Dead Island 2 is releasing on the 21st of April of 2023, but, well, it was actually meant to release about 9 years ago in 2014. The game was actually first announced at E3 of 2014, with a trailer showcasing the game's sunny California setting, featuring a mix of melee combat and gunplay. The trailer was met with excitement from fans of the original Dead Island game, which was released in 2011, and also featured a zombie-infested tropical island setting. The announcement trailer for Dead Island 2 featured a comedic tone, with a runner jogging past a zombie outbreak without noticing, and the tagline, "When all else fails, let's shoot some zombies." And the game was actually being developed by Jaeger Development at the time, the studio behind the game Spec Ops: The Line. So from the outside, it seemed like the game was working well, and it was going to be releasing in 2014, and it seemed like a great game for the time. But things pretty much just went downhill from there. And in today's video, we're going to be going through the complete timeline of Dead Island 2 from 2014 to 2023, the evolution of Dead Island 2. We'll go over the development phases from 2014 to where we are today, and what we can expect from the release of Dead Island 2 when it releases on the 21st of April. So we'll go over all of that in this video. Let's waste no more time and let's get straight into it. So, as we mentioned earlier, in 2014, the game was first announced at E3 of 2014. This showcased a trailer of California, the setting of Dead Island 2, and it did show some melee combat and some gunplay as well. That was basically what happened in 2014, and at the time the game was being developed by Jaeger Development. Then in 2015, the game was actually delayed to 2016, with no specific release date announced. The developers stated that the extra time was needed to ensure the game was of the highest quality. However, rumours began to circulate that there were creative differences between Jaeger Development and publisher Deep Silver, with some reports suggesting that the developer wanted to take the game in a more serious direction, while the publisher wanted to maintain the comedic tone of the announcement trailer that was originally posted in E3 of 2014. Then in 2016, Dead Island 2 was delayed once again, yet this time with no new release window at all was announced. It was also revealed that Jaeger Development had parted ways with the publisher's Deep Silver, with the latter citing creative differences. Jaeger Development issued a statement saying that it was no longer leading development on Dead Island 2, but they didn't give any further details. This news was met with disappointment from fans who had been looking forward to the game's release, understandably, since obviously it was released in 2014. Now for it to have released in 2016 from 2014 wouldn't have been too bad, but to then have it delayed and then delayed again is obviously very disappointing, and that's going to be pretty heartbreaking for the fans of the Dead Island franchise. For it to, first be announced right back in 2014, to be releasing in 2015, and then delayed to 2016, and then in 2016 to have it then delayed, but with no new release window at all, just a further delay. And this was, in 2016, and this was also when the development team stopped developing Dead Island 2 and parted ways with the publisher's Deep Silver. So obviously, for fans at the time, this is going to seem very questionable and very mysterious, since at that point you're really going to question what's going to happen with Dead Island 2 and if it will be cancelled. And from 2016 to 2019, Dead Island 2 remained in development limbo for several years, with no major updates or announcements from Deep Silver, and many fans began to speculate that, the game had been cancelled or put on indefinite hold, particularly after it was not featured at major gaming events such as E3 throughout that time. Interestingly, from 2016 to 2019, Sumo Digital were actually working on the game, but they then also parted ways with the publishers Deep Silver, as they also felt that the game wasn't really going in the direction that Sumo Digital wanted the game to go in. Deep Silver really were set on it having a more comedic tone to it, and that's just something that both Sumo Digital and Jaeger Development just didn't want to do. They wanted a more serious approach, whereas Deep Silver, the publishers after all, so they are the ones leading it really, they did not want that. So at the end of the day, they can part ways with the development team, and then obviously the development team can go on to do their own things, whilst Deep Silver still have Dead Island 2 on their hands, but obviously it's pretty useless if there's no development team, since there's going to be no progress made and it cannot release. So by the time it did get to 2019, there had been 2 development teams already on the game, and the game was sort of at a halt, and it seemed like it could quite possibly be cancelled. From 2014 to 2016, the game was obviously developed by Jaeger Development. Then from 2016 to 19, it was developed by Sumo Digital, and now we're on to 2019. So in 2019, it was announced that Dead Island 2 was going to be developed by Dambuster Studios, the studio behind Homefront: The Revolution, The announcement came as a surprise to many fans who had assumed that the game had actually just been cancelled since there was no news really from 2016 to 19. The game was actually still set within the California setting, but it did actually have some new protagonists and of course updated gameplay mechanics. Since the game was first going to release in 2015, now going to somewhat release after 2019, there's going to need to be improvements made to not only the graphics but the mechanics of the game, since obviously they'd be outdated. Realistically, they were for the PlayStation 4 and also for the Xbox One, but now they'll be looking at the next generation consoles, and generally gaming would have advanced by then, so obviously improvements needed to be made with the new development team, which was of course Dambuster Studios. In an interview with IGN, the game's new creative director, Rob Fernley, said that the team was embracing the spirit of the original Dead Island game, while also bringing their own unique spin to the franchise. He also stated that the game was much further along than people might think, and that fans could expect to see more updates within the future. And well, obviously in 2020, the pandemic hit the world, so there were no major updates were released for Dead Island 2 in 2020. By updates, of course, I mean news about the game, but rumours did begin to circulate that the game would be released for next generation consoles such as the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S, since of course they released within 2020. Some fans actually speculated that the game might be showcased at major gaming events such as the virtual E3 events for the PlayStation 5's showcase, but that wasn't actually the case. And in 2021, Deep Silver confirmed that Dead Island 2 was still in development. Obviously, there hadn't been any news for a while now, but they did confirm that it was still in development, but did not give any further details on when the game would be released or what platforms it would be available on. And the publishers also stated that it was committed to delivering significant updates on the game's progress in the future. Of course, 2 years before that, they said they could expect updates soon, but obviously, yeah, the pandemic hit everyone, and that is not going to help at all. So no major updates or announcements were made for the rest of 2021, which then comes into 2022. And there was actually a pretty surprise announcement. Deep Silver revealed that Dead Island 2 would be released in the first quarter of 2023 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. The publisher also revealed a new trailer showcasing the game's updated graphics, gameplay mechanics, the California setting, and the trailer featured a mix of melee combat and gunplay, as well as a variety of different zombie types and environmental hazards. This trailer was very well received by fans, who were definitely excited to finally see some new footage of the long-awaited game since 2014. So the game was going to release in February of 2023, and of course now we're looking at the year of 2023. Unfortunately, there was a minor delay to set it back to the 28th of April, so not too long, about a month or two, but then it actually got pushed forward a week since the game did go gold, which means the development for the game is done and it is ready for release. So then the game got pushed back by a week and is now releasing on the 21st of April, and that's definitely going to be the release date for Dead Island 2. So there we go, that was the evolution of Dead Island 2 all the way from 2014 to 2023. Of course, it went through 3 different development studios. It went through Jaeger Development to then go to Sumo Digital, and now of course we do have Dambuster Studios. And finally, after all of these years, we will be getting Dead Island 2 very soon on the 21st of April within California, with some great gameplay mechanics and some outstanding graphics by the looks of things. Hopefully this game will be just as good as the original Dead Island game, which of course did work very well and was a great game. So hopefully if it's just anything like that game, then we're definitely in for something great. And that does just about wrap up things here. That was the evolution of Dead Island 2 from 2014 to 2023. Now I have actually done a video going over everything we know so far about Dead Island 2, and if you're interested in watching that, then a link to that video is on the screen now, and you can go ahead and join me over there.